My name's John Douglas, and I'm the rhythm guitar player and the lead singer in Who Shot John.
And I'm Tyler Birch, bass and sometimes backing vocals, Who Shot John.
And where did the name come from?
I was trying to find at the very beginning stages of the band something to call it. It's actually not the easiest thing in the world to come up with a name for a band that's not already been taken. There's a whole lot of them out there that you'd like to use, you can't. I was in the process of doing that one night when I stumbled online onto a documentary of Popcorn Sutton, who's a very famous moonshiner. And yeah, I just got interested in it, easily sidetracked. So I started to watch this thing. And he's a famous moonshiner. The episode, he's making a homemade still. And during this process, the person that's interviewing him asks him what are some of the different names that he has heard for moonshine. And he starts to ramble down a bunch of different ones. And he says the Who Shot John line. And it made me think of a time that I'd heard it before in a John Wayne movie that was one of my favorites when I was a kid, and it just kind of stuck.
It just started with us sort of finding out about Blue Sprocket and looking into it, and Lindsay had your wife Lindsay had some connections with Travis down there, and like I said, it was just a matter of putting together the funding for it, and then when we finally got all of our ducks in a row on that, we just went in and started recording, and just sort of went from there. We did 2 days straight of just recording with Chris and everything, and just, track everything, and then have since been sort of trying to piecemeal it together as a little bit as we can.
Yeah, it was really probably the first time that I've been in studios before, but never with really like a full-scale project that I was like in charge of. I've done some other things with other people, but it was interesting to spend that kind of time there, because it was back-to-back 12-hour days. I mean, it was a real process, and we had just an absolute ball. We just went in there and had fun and cut up, and it was really cool to see the process kind of from both sides too. Well, let's say
Wilco's a fun one.
Wilco is an interesting song. Now, that wasn't just a particular word. It's a song that we put together that's kind of an illustration of the point of view of somebody that has an incredibly boring job, somebody whose job's awful. Well, where I got the idea from the song was I was on my way to a show up in Stanton. I think it was just a duo, maybe you and I were doing.
Was that Bistro or something?
And I'd been sick with a sinus infection or something, and I stopped at the Wilco Hess station in Stanton to pick up, I think it was just a pack of Lifesavers or something like that, for the performance. And I walked in and I stood in line behind probably 4 or 5 people, and I got up to the counter and I just had this like little 89-cent thing, and I didn't have $1 on me. I didn't pay attention to whether I had any cash. So I actually had to take my card out and swipe it. And when I did that, the woman behind the counter gave me this god-awful look and looked like she was just having the worst day ever. And when I walked out, the sign was right there in front of me, the Wilco Hess thing, and it just kind of got the idea rolling. And after fashion, we put the song together. So just buying a stick of candy did it. We do a mix of kind of classic rock and roll, a lot of covers and things like that. Rock and roll and soul music and a lot of blues. And then our own original material, which lies somewhere in the middle of all that. Yeah, my name's John. I looked at the camera. I did it. Did it? Ah!
How did the band get started?
Is that easier? You get together and play. And, yeah, this is going nowhere.